What's going on, y'all? My name is Christopher Life Willars, and this is the Stay Free Show where every day, or at least most days, I get to come up here and talk about something that I experienced near and dear because in 2003, I was sentenced to 144 years in prison, all suspended but 19. But I did over 3 years of that time in solitary confinement on level fours, being transferred from one prison to another. So I'm glad that we can be up here today and have this discussion. I'm gonna ask my guests to introduce themselves. I know them quite well, and but please, guys, introduce yourselves and let them know more specifically what we'll be discussing today.
I'm Alison
Um,
Chafin. Sorry, Fatima.
go
I'm
for it,
the
girl.
I'm the
Mhm.
co-rep of Survivors for Justice Reform, mainly here with that, but also directly impacted by solitary confinement. Also was a special ed teacher for a long time, and I teach at the college level, so the data and everything and educationally, just bringing awareness to solitary confinement from education standpoint, but directly impacted standpoint because my partner is currently in solitary confinement in the state of Virginia, and I'll pass it to my other co-rep.
And that is me. I am Fatima Muwahid, the co-representative for the Virginia chapter of Survivors for Justice Reform, as many people have heard me do plenty of times. I am a justice impacted person, an advocate. I have a husband who has served 25 years of a 53-year sentence. Been in the advocacy game for quite some time, jumped around from place to place. Now, in a survivor led global coalition that believes in pathways outside of the carceral system and anti oppression, which would eliminate solitary. So, back to you, Chris.
The whole time you guys were doing your introductions, I was fighting for my life over here, trying to let
I was
stuff.
wondering what was going on.
I was over here. This is a serious topic, but I had to let that out. That drove my anxiety up. I really did 17 years in prison, y'all. Technology is still new to me at times, but nonetheless, thank you guys for being up here. Thank you for the advocacy work that you guys do. Alice and I always got to shout you out. We got to shout the dog out.
He never barks.
I
Shout.
know.
What's his name? Now I got to
His
know.
name,
That's what
his
Kalu
name,
feels about
his name
solitary
is
confinement.
Kaluk. Yes, he doesn't
Kaluk.
like solitary either. Yes, Kaluk.
We need to get shirts made that says Kaluk is does not like solitary confinement. Um, but anyways, I lost my whole train of thought. But we're talking about the whole segregation, solitary confinement. Um, I think first, you guys want to talk about the impact. You guys want to talk about what happens to a person or what it actually is, because I think sometimes people don't really understand what solitary confinement is.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. All the research that I've done is, I like history and I like to understand things. And solitary
Shout out to
confinement
the
came.
whiteboard lessons.
Yeah,
Make sure
yeah.
y'all check out Fatima's whiteboard lessons.
I'm usually caffeinated and I have my little thing. I
Her
love this
anchor
thing.
chart.
I
It's called
love
an
this thing.
anchor chart lesson.
It's called a whiteboard. But anyway,
Oh,
we go back and forth.
all right.
But so 19 or 1790 is when solitary kind of came about, but solitary was bred out of necessity because of that's how they built prisons. And then it was interesting that I found out that in 1890 the Supreme Court in Colorado, as a matter of fact, deemed that you could no longer use solitary because it was an extension of punishment. Like you were punished, you were sentenced. So let's say you were sentenced to 144 years, right? You
Right.
weren't sentenced to solitary confinement. So
Hmm.
that's why it was overturned and deemed torture. So what it does, and the reason why they did that is because the staff in these facilities in 1890 said solitary confinement doesn't reform people; it drives them crazy, and so the brain literally
What year was
dies.
this? What year was this?
It was 1890. 1890.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I was really surprised to find that out. But the brain, all the different things that occur with the brain, it shrinks, which is atrophy, and you become angry, you're unpredictable, you see hallucinations, you're disoriented. I'm sure Chris, you're going to be able to speak tons and tons about that. And I know, Allison, with your loved one, I know you've experienced just communicating with him. Talk to us about that, because it hurts my heart when I have to hear those things.
Yeah, I think thank you for giving us the historical context because it's important to know. But and Christopher can speak more to this, but just from the outside looking in, it's like when you're on a general population yard, that's like what you're doing, So that's like feels like your environment, your home. I mean, it is what it is.
For
That's
what
your
it
home,
is.
your cell's your room. And all of a sudden you just get snatched out, like kidnapped. And then they put you in, they call it lockup in there because it's like lockup and lockup. And then so it's a very traumatic experience, but also like it's crisis. You're going to solitary either because you're in a crisis or you feel like you're in a crisis, like, and then once you're back there, it's like you don't hear from the person. They lose so much weight. And from being, well, in Virginia, I don't know about other states, but you can't order no commissary, and the food is from the the kitchen is nothing. So you have to supplement it as a grown man with commissary, but you can't even order that. So you're back there hungry. And then all the things you just said is happening to your brain. And you have no contact with your family and your child and your partner and your mom.
Yeah.
And you need that in crisis. I know when I call Fatima, my mama, when when I need to talk to somebody and you can't even reach out to nobody.
I don't even know where to get started because I'm just sitting there. I'm still tripping off 1890 and how it's an addition to the sentence.
Yeah, right.
But I'm a first time dad, and there's a group of parents that they subscribe to the thought that you let your baby cry and they let them self regulate. There's another group, which is me. Baby cry, I'm going to pick them up. We're going to go walk around for the next 2 hours and chill. Because I believe what you said, you need that regulation for your nervous system. You need that connection. You need to know that you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And prison or incarceration, confinement, even though individuals may be making a decision that leads them there.
What do you think he was saying?
That leads them there.
That's how you know the enemy's real, because I was getting ready to get cranked up right there. I'm gonna tell you, man. Hey, look.
You
Anyway,
had us on a cliffhanger.
listen, but you go to prison, and even if you make the decision or you get locked up, jail, etc., it's shocking. It's a shock to the system. It's brutal. And the first time I got locked up at Rappahannock Regional Jail, which to this day has issues. It's always had issues. And I want to tell you, in the first 24 hours, I got placed on a yellow brick road, which is solitary confinement, behind a green door. Everything's painted yellow. The lights never turn off. You can't eat the food because it's you just locked. And for the first 24 hours, I listened to a man lose his life as he detoxed off of alcohol, and they thought that he was joking about hallucinations. And to this day, there may be a session every now and then where we got to process a part of that. And this is over 2 decades, gone now. So it's deep, man. It's deep.
Well, that's why we, Survivors for Justice Forum, we are rooted in, anti-carceral and anti-oppression, but people who go through that, like you had to experience that, and all the other things. I understand prison is not a beautiful place,
right?
But you're a survivor of solitary confinement. Man. Because the trauma, it's just a different type of trauma. It's just, the brain is a muscle. So when you experience trauma, your brain, the muscle, it reverts or decides to make a choice to get you out of that trauma, right?
Yeah.
So it could be anything from, anxiety or, like I pick at my nails and I don't even know it, like it could be anything that you do that your brain has decided, this is how I'm going to handle this trauma now. You're just going to have to deal with it from now on. This is how I'm dealing with it because the muscle brain is damaged.
Yep.
So as a survivor, our brain is damaged from trauma, and we have to work through trying to get better. And you're living with that. You're living with that trauma. I live with the trauma. Allison lives with the trauma. And anybody who's incarcerated, anybody who is touched by the justice system, in my opinion, is living with trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. And the goal should be rehabilitation, because whether you think somebody deserves to get a certain type of treatment or not, you should want them to come out of prison better and not worse. But
Right.
when you use that survivor term, everybody doesn't survive the whole. Everybody doesn't survive solitary confinement, because that was just one person that I knew that didn't make it out that cell. And I would also say, before I chime back out, is it went from me being shocked to go to solitary confinement and having, it being brutal, to later on in my bed, I would get into an altercation so I could go to the hole and get vacation and be able to sleep and get some rest, because I just needed to get out the noise of the pod. That's how messed up I was, because it was over 3 years, but I can't even count how many trips, to solitary. My longest stint was 14 months straight. But yeah, man, definitely, this is a good discussion. Yeah, you got me thinking.
Where'd you do your 14 months at?
Between Haynesville Correctional Center, level 2, and being shipped back to Sussex 2 for my second time.
Oh,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was I hit Sussex 2 twice, so that lets you know how I was.
that's the jungle over there, man.
That and I got sent there twice, so that's lets you know early on in my bid I was a different person, and I'm glad I survived all that. Man, trauma will transform you. You know,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
trauma, like I'm a survivor, violence. So I have a lot of trauma from my past, like complex trauma is what they call it. And so my brain, I try to tell people like it's different.
right.
And
Mhm.
then what's hard is we were at Augusta, and it was the mountains, so it was still some like, some petty racial stuff, but a big fight ensues and then end up at Red Onion State Prison, which is like, woo.
Yeah, that's
That
yeah.
was like a major adjustment. Now we're in long term there. And so my trauma is like it's like very triggering for my trauma. And I'm
Can you
not even in there.
can you explain to people what red onion is, so they can understand what the difference may be between red onion and a level 4 or level 3?
Yeah, well, I do want to preface this. They're all bad,
No
you know.
question.
And so these mountain facilities like Red Onion, Wallens Ridge, they're the supermax prisons. And Red Onion, they say the rhetoric, the worst is there. That's untrue. That's a misunderstanding. But that's what society knows it as, and it's hyped up to be. But it's in the remote Appalachian Mountains at the
Mhm.
western edge of Virginia, West Virginia,
No
Kentucky.
man's land. That's
Oh,
what
I've
we
been
call it.
out there.
Yeah.
I'm uncomfortable, and I'm white, and
Yeah,
I'm like, woo.
yeah,
Like it's in the middle of nowhere,
yeah,
literally.
yeah. And I'm glad you said it's not people. It's been stigmatized. I don't know if that's the word, where they think the word. No, some of those guys are like political prisoners, like guys who
Yeah.
were writing stuff up, guys that were getting law, like guys that weren't conforming to the system. So
But
for
also
whatever reason.
Virginia has a classification system where my loved one had a 19-year-old cellie because his crime. He had probably, he probably had a certain crime and he was young. It was his first time in there, right from the jail, went to Red Onion because it's a level 5. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just house level 5. So you could just be coming in on your bid. You could get caught with a cell phone. You
straight.
could be a political prisoner. You could be in a fight. I mean, it is prison. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's
So.
definitely prison. One of the things, and I'm glad they changed it, and I'm not going to too far off topic, but I remember when I was locked up, if a guy got a UA, like on a level 1, he would get sent to a level 4. So you were getting guys that were up there for like nonviolent offenses on a level 4 yard,
Yeah.
because they got a UA, and it never. I mean, seldom did it turn out well, but you know, it's definitely a thing. I think one of the things also with Red Onion, for me, it just represented consistent solitary confinement.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It just, that's what it represented. That was one of the main differences, between that and, at least on a level 4, you get a couple a couple hours out. Level 5, maybe. You know.
Yeah, as long, but see, now you have the issue where and the staffing shortage is all over the place
Mhm.
when it comes to corrections, because honestly, people don't want to work in that type of environment.
Right.
Who wants to work in an abusive? It's you're trained to be abusive because they
Yeah.
think that's how you need to control people.
It's exhausting in there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we could go into like people who are incarcerated for any length of time, their suicide rates, but even officers have high
Officers as
suicide
well.
rates
Yeah.
because it's that
Especially the
trauma.
ones that work in the hole in
Yeah.
solitary.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yep. So, the across the country, they're locking down more people and they're locking down whole facilities.
Yeah,
So, solitary is no longer this one cell environment anymore. It is. But
right.
in addition, they're locking down pods. Because what, Allison, was it the level 4 Wallens Ridge or River North was locked down for 90 days?
For River North, because
Yeah,
yeah, but they're doing that all of them, the collective punishment, a whole pod for
Yeah.
90 days for one person's behavior. No
yeah.
visits and everything.
They first implemented the incentive based program or whatever it was. And if one guy caught 100 series charge in a pod, they cut the power off at 8 o'clock or something. It was like the craziest thing. Yeah, it was like what I don't even. I still to this day. But anyways, you guys got me having flashbacks.
Wait, that was the healing environment, right?
I don't know if it was
Like,
the
yeah,
healing. I don't know what it was. It was like the first tier of it. I was there
yeah.
when they first started.
I love how they
Um,
use those names. Restorative
Restorative
housing,
housing is what they call
healing,
solitary.
healing
They're
environments.
starving people and they call it restorative.
so
Seriously.
I lost 55 pounds
Two.
in one trip. There's a picture of me. I look, man, I look crazy. They let my mom and my grandma come up to Sussex like on a Wednesday, and I walked into visitation. I was on a hunger strike too, y'all. I was a different.
Did they let you get contact or were you behind the glass? Because usually you got to be
No,
behind the glass.
they tricked me. They told my mom and grandma they can come up there because they was gonna tube me up, and
Yeah.
they told them come up there. And when I came out there, they had like the burgers and all that on the table. And my mom was like, "Eat." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "I gotta eat," and I folded. But it is what it is. I
And I
folded.
probably would have folded too.
Yeah, look, my mom, my grand, but
Can't refuse your mom and your grandma. Yeah.
yeah, but I want to. Part of the reason I went on a hunger strike and I lost weight was because I had COs that were telling me they were going to do things to my food. So I'm not going to eat because I don't trust it, and
Yeah.
psychologically. So there's so many different variables. And then for anybody else that doesn't understand, when you're in solitary confinement, you're typically, well, at least everywhere I've been, I don't know if it was a me thing or everybody, you're on 2-man escort, and you're cuffed at your wrists, your ankles, and you got a dog leash on you. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they walk you with two officers at all times, making contact to you to the shower or to the dog cages, as we call them, the rec yard. Some people don't even go out because they don't want the dog leash on them. You know what I'm saying? Like
And you got to get strip searched.
oh, the
Yeah.
strip.
Now.
Listen, the whole process.
Oh, now you didn't always have to?
Yeah,
Yep.
every time you leave your cell, they would shake that. They would go through. You don't have nothing in there, but it's like they throw your
They
stuff
tear
and
your, yeah. They put
yeah.
my man's deceased grandmother's photo in the toilet.
Man, I got a story about that. But listen,
So
it
bad back there.
yeah, all I ever ask people when we have conversations about solitary, and I'm grateful to have a few in the community, I say, how do you really think that it helps people? And nobody's really
Right.
they always talk about punishment, punishment, punishment. They or it comes from the perspective that a person will change their behavior because they'll get tired of a certain punishment. No, they'll get traumatized. That's what's gonna happen, probably. But anyways,
Well,
I got
it's not probably scientifically.
there you go. Get the
Scientifically.
board out. Where's
Okay.
the board at?
Because
We need
yeah, I know, right? I put it on the other wall. I'll have to bring the paper out. But scientifically, the prefrontal cortex begins to shrink. And what that causes is unpredictability in the
I have
human
no
being.
prefrontal cortex. It's gone.
So, and that is for minimal isolation. That's not the data is not your brain begins to atrophy after 14 days of isolation. So just think about that. And atrophy is the shrinkage of the brain, which is it's a disease. It's just dementia and Alzheimer's. This is forced atrophy.
Can it be
And
reversed?
there are some parts of the brain that cannot.
That's what I'm talking about.
That cannot. When you atrophy, your brain dies. That's what it is. It's
Right.
it's the process of the brain dying, irreversible damage. That's what atrophy is. Mm-hmm.
Well, I would like to, I'm not paying attention to the time and I need to be, but it doesn't have to be that way. We understand
Right.
that some people may,
Okay.
like you said, you like to get out of the pod sometime. People do check in,
Yeah.
for safety, all these different reasons. And, we know it's even out here, we have predators everywhere. So we
Yeah.
understand that, but there's other options. So in Oregon, what they're doing is the ones that need the more, that are maybe getting in certain, like what they call violent, situations, they put them in like it's like it would be like solitary, but they don't run it like that. It's very like it truly is restorative, and they have peer mentors. They like PRSs for people inside. This is like
Shout
peer
out to the peer
mentors.
mentors.
Shout
Yeah,
them out.
absolutely.
Ones that did long term, because some people back in long term for like decade.
Yeah.
And so they help. They like it's more healing, more therapy, and the staff calling off, the staff like how they feel about work has gotten better too, because it's like a more healing. I know you guys hate the word but healing environment for like trauma informed environment, and they get the most. And when we look at priority inside, we need to give the people who need the most support the support that they need, because they most of the time are coming home.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still see.
And even if they aren't coming
I
home.
just want to say, because I'm still back now on the atrophy part. I heard everything you said. It takes me a little bit longer to get to where you guys are going, because I keep getting stuck on previous things said. But
It's because you have atrophy
it's
from
because
being in
literally,
solitary.
but
Yeah.
literally though. So,
Yeah,
because I'm thinking about this, right? And in full
probably.
transparency, right? Like, honestly, maybe that's why I'm a little bit unpredictable, right? When I think about, and I'm gonna think about the brothers that I know wouldn't mind me speaking to this point. A lot of us have been in solitary confinement for a certain amount of time, and every single one of us will say that's what impacted us the most during our time of incarceration. And I wonder. I mean, they're changing some things, right? Like, they're changing some things, like you said, in some states for solitary confinement. But
Right.
obviously, we know in some states it's still brutal. Like, you're probably padlocked behind there.
Mhm.
What does it look like in Virginia? What are some are there some things that are being looked at as alternatives, or what does solitary confinement look like? Because I've been going out the system for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. I'll let Alison, the eye in the sky, put in all her wonderful data that she collected, but
She does great as well
Well,
too.
yeah,
You
thank
guys should do
y'all.
like a news show.
yeah,
The Virginia system is just like they have what they call restorative housing, but they changed the name. It's the same thing. They
Mhm.
changed the name to say it's not solitary confinement, but it's solitary confinement. It's continuously rising, like dramatically rising. But the prison population in Virginia, shout out to the ESC law, is like the population decreased by 20, but solitary is still rising, and it disproportionately impacts Black people in particular. They make up a certain amount, and I didn't want to come on the live with data, but they make up a smaller amount of the population than they are in solitary. But what it looks like is just called restorative housing, but you're back there for the average right now is 30 days, which is double the Mandela 15-day rule. So what
and
we're
it's
trying to,
triple what it used to be. The
yeah,
average used to be 9.9 days. Now it's 30.9 days.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to right now we have HB 35. Shout out to Kimberly, Natasha, the whole Virginia
Yeah, the
Coalition
VA
on
No
Solitary. They've been
Coalition.
fighting this thing so long,
It's a
so
fight.
long. We're trying to cap it to 15 days. But there are other parts in Virginia
For
where you
years.
have long-term solitary. These are guys that's back there years because of the way that they call it the step down program.
Right.
You can't step down in that program. Like, it's the craziest thing. I can't believe they call it that. And then they have severe mental health units in the STAR program. And the STAR program is more for people who, don't want to be out in population, and they're trying to get them out in population. But it's all solitary.
Yeah, you know the difference
Yeah.
without a
Yeah.
shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that concerns me, oh, sorry, Chris.
No.
As a survivor group, we want to highlight to issues of sexual violence within the prison system. That's something I'm specifically passionate about, because you're already going through prison. You shouldn't have to be a victim of that as well. right?
Hmm.
In some ways, like extreme and repetitive. So the only way to get away from that is what? To check in, right? And then you get a charge in order to stay in there. And you could probably speak to that too, Chris. Like, if you're trying to get away from something, if you're trying to be safe, isn't solitary like the only way that you can do that?
Yeah, I would think. Well, yeah, because I remember guys saying there was like a PC camp. I can't even remember where they said was at, but I never heard. Well, I guess I wouldn't have heard anybody going there. So,
There's a
for,
PC camp.
is there? I always heard, but I never knew. Right?
You gotta be in the hole, you gotta refuse population and you get
For
charges, and
extended period of
it takes a
time.
while to get there, but yeah, they
Yeah.
got one. Just takes you a while.
Wow, it's like an inner sanctum or something. I thought it
It
was like
was
an
at
urban
Red
legend.
Onion, but now it's at Key Mountain.
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, that's what you do. Typically, you go to the hole. Now, I will say, in some systems, like Georgia, going to solitary confinement does not mean that you're going to be safe at all. And I also
Mm.
want to say I have had times in solitary confinement, specifically, well, at the jail and at Haynesville Correctional Center, where I shared a cell because
In
the hole was.
solitary.
So let me tell you how crazy that is to share a
Interesting.
cell with somebody that's probably crazy or did something or whatever to be in it. Like, can you? That's even more volatile than sharing just having a regular cellie, right?
Yeah.
Where was that at?
I had somebody in the cell with me one time at Rappahannock Regional Jail, and one time when I was actually in the system at Haynesville Correctional Center.
That's crazy.
They
That's a
got
level
bunks.
two.
When I was in there, they had bunks in the hole, and something happened at one of the camps. I think at one of the level ones, like a whole bunch of guys, whatever, got dirties or something, and they packed us all on one side and put them on the other, and we're in there, and I'm sharing. This dude is out his mind. He done snapped on the dude in the block. He's out and he's pacing back and forth, and we're not getting out. And there's no CO on the wing. You
Yeah.
can you can kick the door, but you in a submarine down there to steal door. It's
Hmm.
it's just different.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But see
So,
that these are
And
the
that's the other
types of
thing,
things
they
people
put them
don't
in there
realize.
but
oh
you
yeah.
just said something, dirty urine. You can have an addiction problem or severe mental
Oh, they
health,
don't. Yeah.
and they're just throwing you in
Well,
solitary,
let
which
me
makes
tell
it
you.
all worse.
Let me tell you about one of the times I went to the hole, Haynesville. They called me for a random. I don't have no problem. Cool. What? But I just can't go because the CO is like on the back of my head. He's making me nervous, and that's all it is. 2 hours hits. They throw me in the hole. I'm probably like, I don't know. I'm kind of young. I snap out, and back then I'm like out my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna hurt my whatever, right? They put me in the green suit in the hole. I'm strapped to the bed.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm in. And now looking back, I was in crises.
Oh
I
yeah.
can look.
Can
I
you
was in.
believe they do that? And that's what I'm saying. There, it takes an adjustment. My guy's been back there almost a year, and
Don't
it's been
get.
a lot. And it's finally like, but it was so bad, being pepper sprayed through the door, send him out, chaining him to say, just for no reason. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're in crisis. Like, why do you respond like that with more harm?
It's
That's
just.
harmful. It's
It,
so harmful.
it's
All
the,
of it.
it's the same thing, and to anybody, it happens in the communities. I work with people with special needs, young adults. I'm on crisis response. So, like in some counties, if if the police get called and somebody's got a record of mental health, they'll call us too, and we got an opportunity to get there, advocate on the spot, and hopefully diffuse the situation so they don't get put in jail in the
Right.
midst of a crisis. Well, guy has a crisis. He flips out. He's kicking the door. It's not because he's angry. It's because he's flipping out. He's lost his mind. And the response, because you're not equipped, and I get it, because your security is to cuff them up, possibly, like you said, spray them. You know how many times I went through that? Because I'm somebody, I got type 1 bipolar. So I'm in not medicated, like undiagnosed. I didn't get diagnosed till I was 36, but she said I had it since I was a child. So I'm in there flipping, and every single time I would spiral, that was the response, and I would fall deeper and deeper and deeper.
Hmm.
And now
Yeah.
you live with those
Survivor.
repercussions. Yeah, you're a
Oh,
survivor of it. And
Very
not just
resilient to get
yeah,
through all that.
not just me. I mean, I think about my wife when I first came home. Like, I would self isolate. I'd come home. I got got a house and backyard, and I'm sitting in the room with the lights off. Like, I would only leave if I had to go to work, come back. Like that, it carried over, and it's not
yeah.
just me. I'm the one that's loud about it, but it impacts so many of us. I talked to a guy today. He doesn't leave his house to this day. He does not leave his house. He's on SSI. He did 12 years in solitary confinement.
Oh,
I said, when's the last time you left? He said three. It's been over 3 years.
wow.
I said, what do you mean you haven't left? I said, you don't, is there a corner store? You don't walk to the corner store? He said, no, I don't leave my house. I just look out the window. I said, why? He said, I just feel safer in here, just like when I was locked up.
Because his brain, that's how his brain,
He was one of the guys that checked in because he was scared because the
yeah.
environment he was in. He wasn't, some of us, oh, let's, we're in Rome, but some guys they're scared, but now they're back there extended periods of time, and then this is an example of a carryover. He over 3 years hasn't left his house.
And we think about like this is actually these are state sanctioned processes. And in 1890 we decided as a Supreme
1890.
Court that an additional punishment for a punishment was against the law, right?
Right.
And that wasn't going to help anybody. But now that we there's so much in we are such a young country compared to other countries too, but we are sanctioning this behavior. We are allowing this to be okay, and our society says it's okay. They think the stigma felon, oh, you were incarcerated. Personally, Allison and I go through it. There are groups you can't tell that you are married to an incarcerated person because
Oh,
then
no
you're
question.
you're looked at you're stigmatized as well.
Yeah.
We don't view these people as people, and that's why we think it's okay. We don't want to listen to all of this that's going on in life, that these people are going through that. Like, Chris, you have ripple effects of that, and you will live with that for the rest of your life. You will manage it. You will be okay. That poor gentleman, he's managing in life, but is that really rehabilitative? Absolutely not.
No, that was scary, man, having that conversation. And I was grateful that I made it out, but I have support around me, and I got good people. I got a recovery plan. I go to my therapist, and, I'm proactive, but
And you wrote a whole guide on that joint, and I'm going to use it in about 3.5
thank you.
years. Well, a little before.
We got more on the way too. Cause I mean, mental health support is key. I feel like, and I've been saying it for forever with a bunch of other people, man. Like, you can have every opportunity in front of you when you come home from prison. You can have, but if your mind's not right, if you don't have that support, if you're not able to rehabilitate your mind because of the trauma you go through, you're in trouble, especially
Right.
solitary confinement. It's different, man. Solitary is George Jackson said, 5 minutes. 5 minutes in behind the door in a hole will change your life forever. I don't think it take 5 minutes. I think 30 seconds. You hear that banging and you hear guys screaming, and man, yeah. Anyways, not a heavy topic at all. We got not at all,
No, and
right?
it's hard to fight as advocates, especially when you're directly impacted hearing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm directly
Yeah.
going through it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard. It's
And
tough.
this is, and we appreciate you having us on here, Chris, because it's really about the education piece of it. Because
Yeah.
people don't realize, 95% of people that are incarcerated will come home. So think about that. Like, society's like, oh, prisoners, whatever, they can stay in there forever. It doesn't impact me. I'm over here in my nice car, my nice house. It does impact you because you could be, the grocer could be somebody who came out. Your mama could be living next to somebody who came out. And
No
what kind of person
Your
do
neighbor
you
could be
want?
next door not
Yeah.
wanting to come out the house. because
Yeah,
of it.
what kind of person do you want living next to you and your family? I would rather have a society that's a little bit healed than a society of somebody whose brain is shrunk so bad that they are unpredictable.
Especially in 2026, we need more healing. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So much.
Even for the people who don't come home, they were human beings,
Absolutely.
and we don't do, like, that's why our we're transformative and restorative, because we believe we need to start where it starts, in the community,
Yeah.
and give the community what they need. That's how violence happens. That's why prisons are here, because of capitalism, white supremacy, all these different things. I know it's your platform. I don't want to get political, but
Lord Jesus, in the nombre de Padre, de Hijo, Espíritu Santos. I mean, speaking Spanish up here, about to change whole dialects.
transformative justice. That's all I'll say.
Explain to people really quick. Oh Lord, in a platform friendly way. I guess I don't know why I should have to say this at this point, but in what transformative and restorative justice is, just in case anybody doesn't know.
Well, I'll let Alison do transformative, but restorative justice is that's her big feel. She's like, I'm in transformative, yeah. But
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So,
We need
we're in both. We're in both, but we kind of like, we're different, right? So
for sure.
the restorative aspect is you're trying to centralize what caused the harm, and you're trying to get back to that. Our founder, prime example of restorative justice, our founder, Marley List.
Shout out to Marley.
Yeah, she chose restorative justice practices versus going through the carceral system with her sexual crime, the sexual crime that occurred to her. So number one, that's a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Is to get to the root cause of what leads up to these things, right? There's always a root cause, right? And there's always a root cause that causes this. So if we can heal that helps with the survivor of the crime, the person that perpetrated the crime, the community as a whole. So that's your restorative pieces, when you look at what caused it, address it, accountability, non-punishment, non-oppressive,
right?
And you fix the problem. And then transformative is my girl over here.
It's intertwined. It's like she's saying, it's the root of it. We have to get to the root of it. And even if harm happens, we don't use punitive measures. We're anti-carceral. We, whatever kind of support that person may need, and then utilize restorative or community practices with the community, right? Because we've become such a individualized society, but we're really meant to be collective. Yeah. And things like that. And so that's more we're trying to transform from the root.
Yeah, that's right.
If prison was
oh,
see, hey, you see that? I'm telling you. Hey, look, they try to get me. I say that I gotta let me censor myself. No, thank you for explaining that, guys. Thank you for being on the platform. If you guys, want us to speak about another topic, and if you think we can get better ratings than CNN, MSNBC, go ahead and put that in the comments. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
No, but seriously, final take for this one, guys.
Well, I appreciate you having us on here, Chris, and sharing your story. A lot, it's social media and television and the state of our political climate is crazy. But to talk about the actual cause of things, and then to allow us, we're advocates, you're advocate, we advocate for different things for different ways. We're advocating for ending prolonged solitary in the state of Virginia right now with HB 35, but we also believe in, other pathways outside the carceral system. And
is she frozen?
I don't know. I think she is. I thought I was frozen. I was waiting patiently.
You were frozen.
Get rid of me. I talked too much today, evidently.
I thought I was frozen at first because I'm used to getting kicked off. I was just waiting. Allison, it got quiet and you were stuck. But anyways, we're back.
You were wrapping it up, Fatimah, and you got cut off.
Oh, that's okay. I was just saying we're a community, and I think if society would actually stop being singular, right, and think about the whole, the collective, we would be in a much better place, right? you know, we would definitely think about that. Everybody, think about that.
Yeah. Thank you, Christopher, for having us on tonight. I
Thank
love
y'all.
to watch your platform because, like Fatima said, when times are heavy, it's funny to see your skits, And I like to
Moral
watch your
away.
wife. Shout out to April, your wife, too, because
Shout out to April.
as
Little CJ, the next up and
Takeover.
comer.
The
yeah.
takeover,
Yeah.
man.
And my only message out there is for, everyone to take care of themselves, especially the survivors who are tuning in and survivors. And yeah, we just all have to be there for one another. And thank you for letting us take this time to try to spread our message of healing over harm.
Yeah, and just check on each other.
Abolish solitary confinement. Sorry, I had to do my
Yes.
little political thing a little bit.
It's okay.
And
It's
I
okay.
just real quick check on each other, because sometimes you may think everybody's all right, but sometimes just making a phone call, sending a text. I mean, we looking at everybody's life now all over the internet. How about we check on the people around you sometimes. I
on your
think
people.
that's definitely something we should all do. It's a community thing. We should check on each other.
Yep.
For sure, man. And I think I'll end it today by saying we need more unity, man. We need more of that. As far as I'm concerned, you're either on the good side or the bad side. There's no in between. But there's plenty of room with the good guys, man. And we got plenty of reasons to pull together this season. There's many different ways to advocate for many different causes, whether it's dealing with prison, the elderly, people with special needs, people that are in need of a voice. So thank you for the ones that are doing the work. And if you want to do the work, get involved. The time is now. It's 2026, and there's a whole lot going on. And I might not say too much because I don't want to get kicked off again. Anyways, y'all, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. If anybody wants to connect with Survivors for Justice, Alison, Fatimah, please don't hesitate to reach out to my platform, man. Make sure you check them out. Learn more about restorative and transformative justice, and please support the call to heal and not harm and end solitary now. It's definitely
Stay
needed.
free.
And don't forget to stay free.
Stay free.
Peace.
That's right.